Hey there, badass dream makers. This is the Relationship of Your Dreams podcast. It's Alex, your badass dream maker host. I'm here because I believe that all humans deeply desire and thrive in loving relationships. And let me tell you, it's possible because many do find the love of their dreams and more. I'm just here as a guide to help you through the variety of obstacles and hurdles in dating and relationships so that you can also find the love of your dreams. And you're bound to learn about yourself as well. So, 2-in-1 deal. We will get deep here and you may feel triggered at times. Triggers and discomfort are part of a growth process. However, please use discretion as to how much discomfort you are ready for. Now, let's jump into this juicy episode and get you what you want. Hello. Welcome back to the Relationship of Your Dreams podcast. This is Alex, your host. Today, we're going to be talking about intuition a little more. I know that one of my recent episodes is about intuition. I just think that it is so important. And the more that I follow my intuition and following those breadcrumbs and following those little energetic breadcrumbs as well, just things that feel right, that just feel in my gut right to me. The more that I find success, the more that I find peace, the more that life makes sense and that I see the pattern so much more clearly. But before we jump into today's episode, I just want to share a very exciting update that I will be hosting so many powerful women on my podcast soon. It'll be starting next Wednesday. It'll cover topics such as self development, relationships, intimacy, sex, nature, other sorts of self growth involving nature, trusting the journey, trusting yourself, all of this juicy, amazing things that are all important in growing as a human, as a spiritual being, and finding the relationship of your dreams and maintaining it. So I'm excited to start that with you all. I am sure everyone would benefit from these episodes. So super excited. And so, yeah, today I just want to talk briefly about how we are inevitably going to not follow our intuition before we follow it. So, society is based on more masculine traits and values. So, masculine is more logical, more evidence based, more scientific, just things that are tangible, like you can see them. And I want to take out the scientific part because there are some feminine energy or divine feminine things that are scientific. So, let's take that out. The masculine is very rooted in tangible and logical. And intuition, although there is some science behind it, often supersedes science. So, the science aspect of intuition is that our subconscious mind picks up on a lot of little things along our path in life. And it makes these connections in the back of our mind that manifest into gut feelings, into our body is telling us something about a certain situation, whether it be about a partner, about a job, etc. There's a lot of little tiny hints that our subconscious has put together and is trying to tell you through creating this bodily experience that we call gut feelings. And I believe that there is a spiritual aspect here as well. I think that these breadcrumbs are here because the higher power has placed them here, and we ourselves are a piece of the higher power. And therefore, the answers actually lie within us. The answers lie within us. And back to the masculine versus feminine in society, when we talk about intuitive feelings or gut feelings, intuition, etc., it can sound crazy on the outside. It can be really hard to not only believe it yourself, but also to convince others as to why you're making a certain decision. For example, I recently microdosed psilocybin, went to the beach or at the beach, and I did some journaling. And at the end of my journaling, I had written about how I go through a lot of transformations really fast and that it led into something about being a butterfly goddess like, and then I talked about how to follow this orange light and to find other butterfly goddesses, which I thought was really interesting. And I actually had forgot it after I had written it. And I then later revisited it a few days after. And a few days after revisiting it, I got onto a call that I actually was not supposed to originally go on because I was originally supposed to be busy. And the person or one of the two people on the calls had a orange butterfly on her shirt. And the decision I ended up making here was a big financial decision, and it was really hard to describe to my partner like, hey, I am making this decision because of following these breadcrumbs. He does believe that these signs are important and that they're here for a reason. And he is still very supportive. But even just to tell someone, to tell anyone, it's so difficult to be like, I feel like I need to do this because of following these breadcrumbs, because of following these little signs, especially when it comes to a bigger decision, including big financial decisions. What my point is here is it is really difficult to explain or to follow through with a gut feeling because it can sound crazy on the outside. And when we care about what people think about how we sound or what we are experiencing and their views on it, then the more we try to skew our own view on it and we either ignore it or disbelieve it, push it to the side, and we don't follow it. And then we learn the hard lessons of what happens when we don't follow our intuition. And I had just had a call with a friend, and she was just feeling some shame around having not followed her intuition about something really important to her. And now she's recognizing, I wish I had followed through with that to avoid feeling like I have regressed in my self development journey, in my self growth journey, in my self love. And I feel that we all go through this. All of us need to experience not following our intuition in order to follow it more. A lot of us need to see the consequences because in a society that doesn't support following intuitive nudges, intuitions, gut feelings because they're intangible, it's difficult to do that right off the bat because that way of being is often not supportive. That way of making decisions is often not supported by society, by the majority. So we often need to see not following our intuition fail before we actually start following our intuition. And that can take several trial and errors. We're not perfect, we're human and we make mistakes. And sometimes we need to see more evidence, and that is completely okay. And I am here to tell you that you have permission to do this trial and error process and learn when your intuition is speaking with you and what it's trying to tell you. And if you don't follow through with it, what happens? And if you do follow through with it, what happens then? Just ask yourself those questions. When you don't follow through with your intuition, what happens? And when you do follow through, what happens then? And maybe journal about it, talk to a friend, a loved one about it, maybe just speak to yourself about it, process it. And the more that you learn that not following your intuition hurts you, the more likely you're going to want to follow that intuition. So I always promise a short episode and I always end up making it longer than I want. So we're going to cut it here. I hope that was helpful for you. And I just want to remind you, if you are a woman listening to this, your intuition is your superpower. We naturally have intuition. It is ingrained in our soul, in our body. It's just part of us. It is your superpower. So don't let that go to waste. And again, it's okay to do the trial and error. Totally, totally okay. And let's practice following our intuition.